Hi there, everybody. This is Mark Bromley, your favorite artist and author of the Yoranthium book series, which is currently on ebook and will be out on book in a couple of months here. Right now, I'm introducing to you an illustration I did for an art course over at Western University back in the 90s of live art. This is an actual extracurricular activity. This is a class after hours over at Quigley Hall that the teachers hold for those students that are professional in the arts and quite skilled with hand-eye coordination. And we go to this course here, and we have a model that shows up that is being paid by the college and then also through the tips of the artist to basically allow us to have the opportunity to study a live nude art model. It's a thing back then in the 90s. A lot of advertisement went into place. A lot of cultural icon artistry was already in the works ever since the Renaissance period, where a lot of nude artwork was actually being done since the early 10th century. Before that, maybe the early 500s AD. Even before that, the Greeks, back to the before 500 BC, as we can see in their sculptures. This was an ongoing thing of cultural refinement of an artist to being able to do live nudes. Now, the real test for the artist was to do it free-handed. No pictures, no other diagrams. Basically, you sit there with your sketch pad, looking upon the form that you're actually drawing, and you draw it. This is basically what it is. This particular piece is a unique one. This is actually where we take our pencil lead, our graphite, we cover the whole entire form in graphite, and then we take our hard eraser and our soft eraser, and we erase and remove the graphite to create light and dark contrast, basically. And that's what the whole work is about right here. This is 2 feet by 3 feet, and this is just basically one model. And I've always wondered where they got the models, how they found the models. Where did the models show up to say, yes, I want to do this and sign on to it? It wasn't too hard because some of the uh, women artists that I knew over in Gunnison, they told me that they had their own artwork, that they did their own artwork of themselves in mirrors. And I guess if you could do that in mirrors for your own artwork, and there was a particular, I guess she became one of the representative for the art students up there because she wanted to be. And well, she had some prolific artwork that was basically of her nude, drawing herself. She drew herself. And so, yeah, some of the artists just see it this way because, yeah, the human form is not a shameful thing. It's not a terrible thing. It's a wonderful thing, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a natural organism. It's like drawing animals. Have you ever drawn farm animals? People who draw dogs, cats? Well, they're all naked. You probably didn't realize that, did you? When you draw a cat, yeah, it's naked. When you draw a dog, it's naked. When you draw a horse, it's naked. And so there it is. You could put a saddle on it, but it's still naked. But there it is. And it's called life drawing. Life drawing is an okay thing. There's a lot of juvenile people out there that don't actually see what art is. They actually assume that it's something more seedier when they see artwork like this. They think it's a little bit like that. But that's probably because of the terrible nature of the Democrat narrative, which has created a lot of degradation. And I talk about that because I live in the most impoverished condition here in North Korea, North Glen, Colorado. It's like North Korea, the North Korea of the United States. Yeah, if North Korea was like the United States, where I live, this is exactly what it would be like. This is exactly how it is like for the artists here in Colorado. Now, here in North Korea, Northland, what I'm talking about is the degradation of the political platform of poli-sci majors and gender studies majors. Uh, Poli-sci and gender study is a fake science. It's a total poppycock, ludicrous nonsense. And anybody who thinks that they're owed leadership because they study poli-sci for 12 hours a week, for 12 weeks, for each semester they went, is an idiot, is a moron, and is not a leader, and should never be elected to your leadership just because they call themselves poli-scientists, political scientists. They don't know shit about politics. It's about a percentage, 51 to 49%. As long as they're in the 51%, they're in the green. They're in power. That's all they learn. 51%, you're in power. That's all they ever care about because they're garbage. Their whole entire study is garbage. Their leadership style is garbage. Their teamwork, garbage. And that's what they are. You know, artists, when we go to school, we do twice as much work, twice as many hours, and we have to go to these life drawing classes in our spare time as well. So we do like 45 to 60 weeks, 60 hours, 45 to 60 hours a week in just doing art. That's what we study. And what does this cover? This covers reading, math, science, real science, because you got to actually understand biology. There's a skeletal structure inside the human body. There's a muscle structure inside the human body. Everything in the human body is there because of a specific measurement, a math that can be measured. And that makes the human body. What's even more intriguing is that that math still has to be represented when you're looking at different perspective of those dimensions as they move in space and in time. And to get a model, an art model, that can actually stay still for 45 minutes per pose is amazing. It really truly is, because staying still for 45 minutes is not easy. And also, trying to draw the human person while they're moving is even more challenging to the artist. So yeah, you have to know math, science. You need to know philosophy, which means reading, spirituality. You have to understand what motivates people, what truly actually motivates people. You know, the best scientist for probably psychology or sociology, if you want to call those pseudoscience, those fake scientists, art, uh, science, if you want to call them science, because they're not. Artists are scientists, because artists have to learn psychology, sociology, math, reading, philosophy, theology, politics. The artist is the ultimate in all science, the highest of all sciences, true sciences. Because to do a live drawing and to keep the proportions as correctly as possible and using the method of applying graphite and then removing it by eraser requires significant skill, significant insight. And to get models to actually pose for you, to do drawings, shows leadership because you have to create trust. You know, you've seen the drawings of my wife, you've seen the drawings of my girlfriends. That's all about trust, creating mutual trust, mutual respect. It's trust. They trust you enough to draw them. That's what it's about, creating trust. And that's leadership. That's truly leadership. See, I'm unaffiliated because the party I was with, I can no longer trust. That's why I left them. They can't be trusted. They don't know teamwork. An appointed clown named Winkler specifically taught me that lesson. They can't be trusted. A poli-science major named Underwood taught me that they could not be trusted. A hateful, ignorant man of ill temper, Rollison, taught me they cannot be trusted. A dishonest woman named Saramento taught me they cannot be trusted. Trust is important in leadership. Art teaches you leadership. 60 hours of drawing, painting, sculpting, printmaking, photography, watercolor, acrylic, oil paints, classes like chemistry, philosophy, argumentative analysis, theater courses, television courses at KWSB, the radio station and the television station, over in Taylor Hall, hanging out in Quigley Hall, and getting to know Dwayne Vandenbush, the president of the, who was the president of the Colorado Historical Preservation Society, and hearing his lectures teaches a lot of value about art and about life drawing. This is just one of the series. I will talk more about the other ones because I have more to show you. I do hope that you enjoyed this one. Hope you're inspired because Colorado does need to be fixed. And why not use an artist? An artist is the ultimate in science because they learn more. A lot of the courses in college here in Colorado, your courses, if you say that you're some other degree than an artist, you only did half of what I did. You only learned half of what I had to learn. In fact, I may have actually learned 3 times more than any other college student did in 4 years. And then I went into the military, and you know what? In the military, I ended up doing 40-hour weeks. Had to maintain above a 90%. If you drop below 90%, you wash out, you get sent to the fleet with no rating, no qualifications if you wash out. So you had to stay at 90% and above, 40 hours a week, and you had to know your stuff. You had to know your shit. I tell people most of the time, college paled in comparison to what the military put me through their A schools and their C schools. And what college was teaching me here in Colorado was bullshit, was lies. If you want to play a song to what higher education is here in the state of Colorado and the people you've been electing to office, skinny puppies, thieves, play that song. That will explain to you what Colorado colleges are actually like. Thieves and liars. Play that. But if you want to know what the truth of the military is, it's truth. It's truth. It's the truth about the courses and the classes. And I tell people that I've earned enough credits, which is actually truly documented, for 3 PhDs because of my experiences and the fact that I'm also a professionally licensed master electrician. It's just one more notch on that belt there, saying that a lot of people who call them poli-sci majors, gender studies, sociology, psychology, Kafka's, Dostoevsky's, liars, thieves and liars. That's exactly what they are. Trust the artist, though. The real artist that went to school, learned a lot of things, learned a lot of techniques, a lot of abilities. Because see, art school is not about being a great artist. It's about learning how to do art in many different ways. No great artist studies art to be great. They study art because it's who they are. I've been an artist ever since I was 2. I knew I was an artist ever since I was a kid. I've been creating art all my whole entire life. A lot of it isn't always great. Wait until I get to my Mad Magazine era and start showing you those Mad Magazine drawings. Um, there's a lot of those too floating around. They're not great, but they're fantastic enough as far as an artist is concerned. And there's a lot of different work right there. So get my book Yoranthium. You can actually get to see even more art. You know, artists live the hardest life because of a bunch of frauds who do less work, practically nothing. And I guess the best movie to exemplify that is the Eloi from The Time Machine. You know, the Eloi, they sit there on the banks playing and frolicking in the water, not knowing where they're gifted all their fruits, their vegetables, and their clothing, where it comes from, only to get eaten by the creatures that live under the ground, the cannibals. Yeah. That's your current politicians that you've been electing. They're the Eloi. And look at what they've done to Colorado. They've made it bad. Here in North Korea, Colorado, Northglenn, they killed the dairy because of globalists. They wanted to kill the dairy. They wanted to kill the cows. They wanted to get rid of the farmland to build massive coffin lockers in the sky called tiny apartments and homes for a larger number of people so they can just try to make money off of water, the water bill for the city. And that's what they want to kill. So they destroyed a dairy that created healthy, wholesome milk, and they degraded our society. Now the biggest businesses in Northglenn are drug distribution and alcohol. Yes, booze and drugs is now the major infrastructure of the city of Northglenn, when it used to be wholesome, healthy milk. We have fallen. Our society is deteriorating and disintegrated. When I came back from the military, you know who was on TV late at night with those infomercials? The Pleasure Boys. Yep, porn. Down in Denver, where they wanted a red light district in Denver. Like Amsterdam. This is the degradation of Colorado. This is the failed leadership of those poli-sci majors, those gender study majors, those healthcare, EMT, paramedics who want to jack you up on drugs. They do not have the hours in learning that an artist does. I told you what the hours are like. In 1 week, an art student will do 60 hours of study in the arts, possibly learning how to draw a nude figure. I have many of these pictures. And they will spend 60 hours doing art and learning a lot of stuff compared to your pseudosciences who are only doing 12 hours a week. 12 hours a week compared to 60 hours a week. Who is learning more? The artist. They're the ones dedicated to learning. Your poli-sci majors, your psychologists, sociologists, riff-raff trash. Your education people, riff-raff trash. They just want to spend your money. The artist earned your money because they work for it. They do the work for it. And they study life and the nature of it and what brings people to the podium to model, to create fine art and the sketches to help educate and bring the humanitarian, the environmentalist, the spiritualist, the greatness of our human civilization out is only created through the artist. I'm Mark Bromley, the creator of the art style. I tell you that it's anime, realism, Renaissance, Impressionism, Surrealism, Symbolism. But it's more than that. It's much more involved. Even in my writing style, you can see my writing style through my book, Yoranthium, on Google Play. Right now it's an ebook. In a couple months it should be in a book format that you could order. And you will see the difference. You will see the art. You will see the political science in it. You will see the biology in it. You will see the psychology in it, the sociology in it, the history in it. You will see it all in there. It's a fantasy book created about elves, fae folk, and the fairy folk, and a bunch of other interesting situations. But it's just a story, or is it? Or is there deeper meaning? I put a little cliff notes in there sometimes just to let you know that there is a deeper meaning for those who are interested. But you don't have to see it that way. You can just read it. Be the mind numbed. Be like those thieves and liars that exist within our education system in the state of Colorado who call themselves poli-sci gender study majors, who call themselves psychologists, who call themselves sociologists, who call themselves, well, let's face it, if they're not really doing actual real science, they're nothing even close to what an artist is. Because what is an artist? An artist is the highest science known to man. An artist is always learning something, always achieving something. An artist, most artists that I know, they actually have building experience. They're like carpenters. They're like electricians. They build things. They can actually fix stuff. They can make things work, providing they have access to resource. And that's one thing I need, access to resource. Resource, funding. Funding would be great. Through my book, through my art. You guys can contact me anytime and ask me to do art. But can you afford the price? I give a basic price, about $500 for a 2 foot by 2 foot piece. Seems pretty decent, pretty respectable. And you can take that and you can de-escalate it down and you can upscale that to larger sizes, and that will give you an idea. Let me do a little bit of that math for you. 4 feet by 6 feet, 3,000. 6 feet by 12 feet, 9,000. There we go. 2 by 2 feet, $500. Cut that in half, $250. Cut that in half, $125. Pretty simple. Pretty simple and straightforward. But the quality of the work depends on how big it is. The bigger the work is, the more quality goes into it. The smaller the work, less quality goes into it. Because, even when you're painting like 25 millimeter scale models, like I have, paint can only go so far. You can only do so much with it. Ultimately, in the end, you are left with a finite amount of space. So there's an indication of how detailed things can go with my artwork. And you can see a lot of it right here on my website. So you know what? Why are you paying a bunch of frauds who only studied 12 hours a week college when you can get an artist who studied at least 60 hours a week to do their artwork? Think about that one. Qualitatively, what are you really looking at? Think about that. Thank you very much for looking at my work. This is just one nude of many, and this is a fantastic piece. You have a great day.